Right, Happy New Year guys. Back on this one today. First job proper back after Christmas. I've done a few call outs. Basically I've got a site meeting here today with the builder and the client. We're going to discuss all the heating and all the building works and stuff. So I thought I'd come out here and make a start. Basically I'm going to strip the old boiler out and crack on basically, and then we're going to discuss the job. So easy start to the year really. I think they were talking about wanting the cylinder upstairs in what was the old airing cupboard, but obviously it means a bit more work for me, having to get primary pipe work and a 22mm cold, because it's only 15 where it comes off this stop tap. Obviously if the cylinder was going here, I could just upgrade it on this piece, but we'll discuss it all anyway, find out what's going on, and then we can sort it all from there really. But I think we definitely have an external boiler, we will confirm, and then maybe the cylinder upstairs, but we will confirm it all with the client. Right, we'll just drain the hot down into this plug bucket. We've got the cold water isolator down there, but we'll put a valve on the feed into the boiler. That one don't work, so we'll cut one in, just a valve, so then we can have all the cold water back on for the toilets and stuff. Now that hot tap's stopped running, or basically stopped running, we're going to cut the cold feed coming into the boiler, and we'll just cap this one off, just so we can get the cold water back on then. So hopefully we shouldn't have any water here. I'll probably get a little bit, but there shouldn't be too much. That's fine. What we'll do is we'll put a service valve or a cap end on there, and then we'll get the water back on then. All the heating's drained, by the way. I drained it all down before Christmas, so nothing could freeze up. I've just isolated the oil supply. What I'll do is I'll also cap it off so then it can't be turned back on. Never been a fan of these Atkinson ones, because like that is off when it's spun that way, and to turn it back on you have to spin it. To me they're always like counterintuitive, but if you've not seen them before, that's what they do. We've also got your sight gauge on there. We've got a little bit of oil left in the tank. You have to obviously depress the button or pull the button out to see how much oil's on your sight gauge. We've got, I don't know, 8 inches, 10 inches in there. So yeah, I'll cap it off so nobody can turn it back on, so we're nice and safe. Yeah, I just thought, I should quickly show you the tank while I'm around here actually. So obviously it's a metal tank. We're having a new tank, but if it's a plastic bonded one, obviously we'll have to put proper clearances to the building. So yeah, we'll discuss that all today anyway, but it's not in too bad a condition really. You're looking for like rust spots and stuff. 1 or 2 little bits, but I've seen a lot worse than that. Obviously you very rarely find oil tanks that do comply, obviously if they're existing, but sometimes you just have to note it on your paperwork. You don't actually have to change it, but obviously if the client wants a new tank it will have to be installed to regulations. So now it's just a case of cutting all the rest of the pipes off. So we've got domestic hot water, we can cut that one, flow and turns are drained, disconnect the PRV, which is down here on this, and then the flue, and then just the oil line. And then this whole unit we should just be able to pull out, get it out of the way, then we can see what we're up against. Right, we just put a 15mm service valve on this cold. It just basically means we can have the water back on. So all the hot will be dead, all the heating will be dead, but we can have the cold water back on for the toilets and to fill the kettles and stuff. Right, I've just removed this worktop to give ourselves a little bit more space, because the return connection on these is right down at the bottom. On the new ones are at the top. So I just have to undo that. There might be a little bit of water in, we have drained it through here, but all should be good. I've disconnected the hot and cold and the flow at the top. So once I get the return disconnected, we should just be able to pull the whole lot forward. Right, we've got this return off now. We just use the recip saw just to cut through that. It's the quickest way. So I've just got the flue and the oil line to disconnect, and all this little slide forward then. Best way I find of getting the flue out on these is disconnect that screw and then just give them a whack. Hand on a screwdriver. Sometimes you can pull the whole boiler and flue out in one piece, but sometimes easier just to disconnect it, depending how corroded that screw is. Sorry about the banging, the builders here now, they're just knocking about. So what I'll do is before I take it out, just strip a little bit of weight off it, just make it a little bit light. They are quite heavy. I've just took the expansion vessel off, just on there, on the flexi, on these two brackets. It was full of water, so there's probably 10 kilos there. I'll whip the burner out, there's a few more kilos there. Sometimes when I'm on my own, I'll whip the slave tank out on them as well. But the builder will give me a lift, I'm sure he will. And I'll just get this out. Right, got it all on my wheels, you'll have to excuse the drilling. The floors will be changed anyway, so I'm not bothered about that at all. All I'm going to do is just get it out the door, and then I'll strip all the weight off it. I might leave it on the front, and I'm sure it'll disappear anyway. So, right, we've got to get a soil pipe to the top floor to feed the new bathroom. What I've done is I found there's a 4-inch soil pipe, had a cap on, which I've managed to get on in this corner. So it'll be a lot shorter run to the roof basically, because it's more or less over here somewhere. It was originally going to come off that ensuite over there, but this is a much shorter run. What I think they've done, I think all this lot's been an extension, and the bathroom used to be here. I've put water down it to make sure it's still connected to the manhole, which it all is. So there's absolutely no reason that I can see why we can't reuse this. So I think this, as I say, I think they've added this staircase in, so the main bathroom at some point was here. So that's what we're going to do. As I say, I've checked to make sure it goes on the manhole, which it does, so you can rod it, and it'll be a shorter run, and it makes life easier. So all we've got to do in here, because originally we was going to take it up in this corner, but it's a much further run, so we've got to move that anyway. If you remember on the last video, we were trying to establish where this went, but basically what we're going to do is move that to this corner. Them hot and colds will go. The hot and colds have still got to go up this side into the roof, and we'll lag them across. But the hot and colds is not as important as the soil, because obviously they're easier to get in. We've had a word. We basically had the site meeting this morning. What's going what? The unvented cylinder is going to have to go in the utility room. They're having external boiler as on the drawing. He doesn't want a secondary running to the top. He reckons there's no need. So that's his decision. I've only recommended. So basically this afternoon I'm going to get that saw through there if I can. I haven't got any saw pipe on me in the van, but I can get the hole drill or get some of this floor up, get these hot and colds sorted out, because obviously they're going to have to go up. We've got units going all along here for the hot and colds to the basin and the bath. So yeah, we've got a bit to crack on with now. At least now we know what we're doing. It's always better when you sort stuff out. This tower will have to come off at some point as well, because we've got to overply all the stud walls. So yeah, bit to crack on with now. At least we know. I mean, the meeting went on for ages, as they always do, but as I say, at least we know what we're doing. Just a quick point with this soil pipe, we'll probably have to put a short boss socket in here to take the bath waste, because I'm not sure we'll be able to get it low enough to boss the bath waste in above. But we'll have a look when you start putting the soil pipe in, you can sort of figure it out. But I imagine we're going to have to put short boss socket, 2 45s and then a 90 across. But we'll have a look at that when we come to do it. Right, we just took some of this floor up, and we've temporarily capped these hot and colds off just with some speed fit cap ends, so we can get the water back on now. As I say, these are going to go up here and then into the bathroom upstairs. What I'm going to try and do is get this soil pipe below this floor and into the garage ceiling. It'll just save having the boxing on the other side in the bedroom. So I'm going to pile it through with a small 1/2 inch bit wherever I put it, and then go through with my big core cutter. So hopefully that'll save having boxing. The joists go the same way as in here, so hopefully they all line up, and we should just be able to get that through then. Right, I can't get it below the floor unfortunately because the joists don't line up. I've measured it off where that existing waste pipe goes through, which is under there, and it's smack bang on a joist in this corner. I can't go in this one because it will hit the door, so I'll have to go above and I'll have to box it in the bedroom. But I thought it'd have been neater if I could have got it below, but unfortunately I can't. Right, I've drilled this through as low as I can in this corner and as far in this corner as I can. As I say, they'll just have to box it in the bedroom on the other side. I did lift the floor up just to confirm we were on a joist. I'll show you on the other side in a second. But yeah, unfortunately it was smack bang on a joist, so there's no way we'd have got it below. So what I'll have to do on the other side is a 90 and then a 45 to miss the joist. But yeah, that should be fine. Right, this is in the bedroom, so what we'll end up doing here is a 90 and then a 45 to miss that joist. There's nothing else we could do. I've just put a hole through, so the builder knows where to set his drain up in there, what was the old garage. So hopefully we'll get a nice straight run of pipe all the way through then. Just be careful when you turn these off, sometimes these can leak. I should really have gloves on because I'm working with oil, but it's leaking. I just changed the hose and that should sort this job. So it's pretty much just a case of undoing that. I'll remake this joint into here, into the oil pump as well, and we'll change the hose and that should sort it. You can see in the bottom of the boiler it's been leaking a while and it's all stained. So that's the importance of changing the hoses when you do the service. When you switch these back on, just make sure you get no drips out of these, because sometimes these can leak. I just need to switch the heating back on. I'll put the analyzer in quickly, but the boiler looked nice and clean inside. So I think that's all it was. So it's just had a new hose and I've remade the joint onto the pump under there. So there shouldn't be any leaks on there now. We've just got this macerator unit to change. We've got a straight swap. We're just double checking with the manufacturer's instructions to make sure you can actually install these outside. Obviously this one's been installed outside. I'm not too sure what's wrong with it. They've had a few different contractors come out, and basically when we arrived all the screws and everything had been taken out of it, and basically they just said it was knackered. So we've got the new one. We've got the new one here. It should be a direct replacement. To say, Harry's just reading through the instructions to make sure we can actually install it outside, but it should be an easy job as long as it's suitable. So this is the dead easy one really. All you've got to do is undo these Jubilee clips. That's the outlet. Obviously we've got the 4-inch coming in on that side, so there's another big Jubilee clip on that side. Undo that. That one will probably have some stuff in it that we don't want to touch. So yeah, and then it's just a case of wiring it back up. It's on. I've just disconnected it off here, but it's got one of these big plug top things on. So just wire that back in as was, and that should do it. As I say, I just put on the report that it needs basically to be insulated and boxed in. So on these macerators you've got two choices. You can either come in the left or the right hand side. So we'll just take the one out that we need. I guess they just twist out. Probably won't be able to do it one-handed, but they'll just twist and pull out, and then just connect your Jubilee clip back on. We use the new Jubilee clips. So you just basically got the inlet and the outlet, so it's dead easy. Right, we've got the thing all working. My mate's just trying it out. He's christening it, as they say. We've had it all filling. It's going into there, no problem. So as I say, I'm just not too happy the fact that it's not in a box. But I think what we'll do is we'll make a plywood box at the workshop, insulate it all, and then just drop it over the top. So you can hear it's all pumping into the drain and everything. So that should all be good. As I say, it's probably been broken by the frost, I'd imagine. I'm not too sure, so we'll get that sorted anyway, but at least now they can use the toilet for the highways. Right, we've just read through the instructions, and basically it doesn't say you can't fit it outside, but it just says it needs to be in a frost-free environment. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to get some plywood and insulate it with some Kingspan, because they need to get it working, because it's for the workers, the grit lorry. Obviously they've got no toilet at the minute, so it's like where they do the gritting and that from. So yeah, we'll have to just fit it, do as we've been instructed to do, and then we'll just put on the report that it needs basically be in a frost-free room. There's nothing else we can do. We just have to get it done, and then if it freezes up, there's not much I can do. But as I say, I don't know whether that's what's broken the old unit. So this one should be a straight swap. There's this like alarm to go on it, but obviously we can leave that here, and then when they build the box we can put that inside. So that's what we're going to do anyway. It's an executive decision. I've just wet vacked it all out in here because it was quite flooded. I think it overflowed the toilet before we came, so I wet vacked it all out. I'm just going to give it a dry with an old towel just to make sure it's all nice and clean in here for him. I haven't actually got a mop, but it was better than it was. I'm not obviously going to touch any of the floor, and I'll just chuck this towel away. Always try and leave it tidy if you can. So today we're doing a combi boiler swap. The flue goes out the top at the minute. The new boiler will be a bit smaller. It's already got a filter on it, but we're going to put a new filter on. We're going to put a shock arrestor on, probably change that cowl mag. So we'll get it all drained down. Somebody's been out, it needs a new fan and a new board on, and they've condemned it. So we'll get it all swapped over for the customer, so they've got some heating and hot water. So basically it's just normal connection. So got flow, hot, gas, cold and return. So we'll do all our safety checks for a start on the gas, get the boiler took off the wall and get it swapped over for the customer. I've removed the fuse from the spare, so to isolate the power. I've checked for dead as well. I'll remove these cables out here in a minute, but what I'll do is just drain it through the PRV. You wouldn't normally drain it through here, but because the boiler's coming out anyway, it's okay to do that. So we'll wedge that open in a second, and I'll get the cold water isolated on here, and then we'll get the hot drain down there as well. Right, we've just disconnected the flue at the top. It has actually been made good with sand and smoke on the inside and the outside, which is the correct way. Just draining the last drops out the boiler. My plumb bucket's just fell over. So pretty much all drained down now. We just need to lift it off, and then we can have a look, get the template on the wall and get the flue hole lined up and start piping it up then. Right, we've got the main bulk of the boiler off the wall. We just got to take the jig off now, and as I say, we can get the template all set up and start piping up. It shouldn't be too bad. That's the worst bit really, getting the old one off. I've just got to disconnect the feed out. We've got a wireless stack going in, one of the plug and play ones on the Worcester. I'll show you it in a bit anyway if I've not shown you that already. So new filter, new cowl mag. We'll put a shock arrestor on it. As I say, we're going to magnet cleanse it, but we'll get the boiler on the wall next. So I've just unboxed all the boiler. Normally I use the box as a rubbish bin, but the box is split on this one unfortunately. So the boiler's fine though, luckily. So we've just got the jig, the condense trap, all the nuts and olives and stuff are in there. So I always put the jig on first, get the template on, get the jig mounted. It's basically, we don't want to be drilling another hole, so the flue's the important bit, and then all the other pipes we'll bring in. So that's my next job. Right, we just put a few screws in the jig. We just got to put a couple more in at the top. I just want to always double check to make sure you got your flue in the right place, the hole. Just double checked it with my template, because if you get that wrong, you're sort of knackered. Because obviously you get all this piped up and then you realise your flue's in the wrong place. So just double check that. So now we can start piping connections up. So they're not looking too bad in line. So obviously we've got flow, hot, gas, cold and return. So we're going to, as I say, we're going to put new filter and stuff like that on. So I'll quickly get this piped up. I'm using this quick fire Rothenberger gas lamp. Right, my Superfire's about broken, but I hate these because you can't control the flame on them. So I don't know. I need to get a new Superfire too, but they want £90 in the merchants for a Superfire 2. I used to pay about 60, but that's pretty much the job so far. Not looking too bad. It's just hard to get nice joints with this quick fire, but kind of is what it is. So we're going to put a new cowl mag on, just a scale thing to try and stop the boiler from scaling up, and we've got a shock arrestor to put on because there's a water meter fitted. Was to say that you need to put a shock arrestor on. Basically, if they shut the hot tap too quick, it takes up the expansion. I know some people don't like Worcesters, probably for that reason, but it's just what the customer wanted, what I've been told to fit, so I just do as I'm told. So we need to put one of them on. Whoever fitted that magnet cleanse was lucky, because when they fitted it, they didn't even get it on the pipe lock. It was only literally just on the end. So I didn't even have to undo it, it just dropped off when I did it from the boiler. So they got away with one there. I'm surprised that never leaked, but it is what it is. We're putting it's probably only just been fitted, but we've got to fit the Worcester one to get the warranty, you see. So that's most of the domestic pipe work done. We just got the PRV and the condense to do. We've also got the shock arrestor and the cowl mag on this side. So we're going to put a new fill loop on, but always get the condense and the PRV done before you hang the boiler, because they're a pain on these. Other than that, it's just a case of hanging it. Right, PRV and condense is in. You have to put this on the jig, but take that jig off otherwise you can't get it on, and leave your condensate sticking through about that far, because then your rubber will just push straight on. Right, I've got all these started by hand, so it's just a case of nipping these up. The PRV is the awkward one. You've just got to try and get that on there with the rubber washer. I can't do it one-handed, but I've done hundreds of them. They're not too bad. The rubber will just go on there for the condense. That's why you leave it about there, and then the condense strap goes in here. So you just have to take that out as well. But yeah, other than that, I've just got the flue to do and the wiring then, and then the flushing. So not too bad. That's the PRV all connected up. So I've got the rubber washer in there. They're not too bad, you just can't do them one-handed. They are a little bit tricky, but doable. Right, we've just turned the water back on. We've pressurised the heating up, make sure we've got no leaks, which we haven't, which is good. So as I say, just got the flue to do now, which is up there, which should line through. And we're going to put the magnet lens on as well, and then just got the wiring. So all is going well. So I'm just doing my safety checks to make sure everything's fine. We've got bonding on here. It's the right size as well. It's actually 28mm. Gas pipe goes up and along. It's a bungalow, so the boiler is literally just like 3 meters that way, so it should be fine. So looking for emergency contact numbers, on-off tape, bonding, brackets and stuff like that. So basically everything checks out alright. As long as my tightness test is fine and my let by and everything, we should be good on this one. So I'm all happy with my tightness test. The last thing I need to do is just put a little bit of LDF on the test nipple. So I'll turn the gas back on. Again, a bit tricky to do one-handed. Tricky to do one-handed, but it does filter off and everything. And just put a little bit of LDF on there and then we should all be good. Right, I've just connected my magnet lens into the system. That can be doing its work while I've got some other stuff to do. I can brick up the flue or patch up around the flue, do my paperwork, check all the boiler and check all the system and everything. So it's just a good bit of kit. So it's just got two magnets which pull the rubbish and stuff out of the system. So I'll put some cleaner in it, and I'll drain it back down, put some inhibitor in it. We should be good to go then. I've just got one of these Worcester Comfort 2 RF Plus stats to fit. So all these do is lock in underneath here. From memory, they just, oops, I smacked myself on the head, but they lock in under there. So they just push in, and then you just have to go through the pairing. They're already pre-paired basically, but just follow the instructions and they're already linked together. So you just have to put the batteries in this and then just follow the procedure. But they're normally not too bad. So we've pretty much got most of it done now. Just got a few little bits to finish off, and we're getting there then. You get a little message on the display saying it's been successfully installed. So all you do is, as I say, plug them in and pair them up when they're already pre-paired, so they're nice and easy really. But we're getting there on this one. It's not looking too bad. I've just got the wiring to tidy up. Obviously the fill loop to disconnect for the water regs. The fill loop is now on the right way around, so we've got the double check valve on the cold side, which is how it should be. So yeah, it's not too bad. Just got to sort the lagging out on the pipes as well, but I can do all that while the system's cleansing. Right guys, I've got this boiler all working. Well, it works for heating anyway, it don't work for hot water. I've been through all the conceivable parameters to try and get it to 5 hot water, but I cannot get it to 5 hot water. I've spoken to Bosch and they say it's probably a boiler fault. I mean, I've checked my pipework and everything, none of it's crossed, because it was a standard pipe layout before. Sometimes if you cross your hot and cold it won't fire for hot water, but I know it's not crossed. So I've been through all the things to try and get it to fire, but it will not fire for hot water, so I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm quite depressed about it really. Trying to explain to your customer the reason they've got no hot water is because the boiler that I fitted, but what do I do? So the electrician's going to come out, he's going to have a quick look with me, and if not, we're going to give him a wash back and they'll have to get an engineer out. But whatever you do, I've tried all the hot water taps, not just one as well, but it's dead basically, it doesn't fire. You can hear the valve, you can hear the three-way valve in there opening, the diverter valve, but it won't fire. So I don't know what to do really, kind of stuck.